Normally, I try not to step behind the microphone when I'm upset or riled up or disappointed. So that leads to long periods of me not being behind the microphone. uh, but like I just came back from an attempt to buy a new podcasting microphone. Very excited about this. I got some walk around money from my in-laws, so some cash in my pocket a couple weeks ago, and I've decided I want to put that toward a new microphone. Not that this one is bad by any means, but I got back from my trip out to go buy a new microphone, whereupon I discovered that it was really hard to find the podcasting gear at my local Best Buy. The Best Buy personnel just will ignore you as you walk around the store aimlessly, which is kind of weird, but whatever. And then the selections were, one, you have one option. I'm like, wow, that's rough. That's terrible. I guess there are streaming microphones too that I could go to that are more, I don't know, they're more expensive. That's for damn sure. Outside of my price range. But I just had a wholly unsatisfactory trip out to try to buy a new microphone you know what? I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. So, fun topic today. I want to talk a little bit about leadership. Leadership, Schmeadership. Well, let's go. What does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean to assume that mantle of responsibility for others? What does it mean? What are you supposed to be doing when you're a leader? Excuse me, I moved a chair there. What are you supposed to do as a leader? You're supposed to listen to the people that you're leading. They're supposed to take all of their issues, their needs, their desires, their fears into account. And you're supposed to make decisions for the group based off of all that information, as well as your own best judgment and ethics. That's key. I use the word ethics a lot on this podcast and in life. Ethics is supposed to be something that's really important. It's your sense of right and wrong, your willingness to stand up for what's right, your willingness to stand up against what's wrong, to do the right thing. That's what ethics is in a nutshell. To obey laws that you should obey, to disobey laws that you should disobey. Ethics is listening to Jiminy Cricket instead of just doing whatever your id needs you to do, wants you to do. I want you to be selfish and greedy and mean. Ethics is about being a good human. People with high ethics standards, by and large, are good humans. You can take ethics too far and be puritanical, which is, it's not the end of the world when you're really puritanical in regards to your ethics. But, having this belief that other people need to live up to your ethics level when you are puritanical seems a bit much. I try to go with a simple ethics approach. The old golden rule that we were taught in Sunday school in Oklahoma, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. It seems like a pretty straightforward ethics commandment. Basically, if you're a bad guy, if you want people to do bad things to you, you should do bad things to other people. Basically, equal and opposite reaction stuff. We didn't know we were learning about physics in Sunday school. But to make a long story short, I try to live a life now. I may not have always done this. I may have failed at times. We all fail from time to time. But I try to be a positive force in this world by doing the little things, the simple kindnesses that I've talked about repeatedly on this podcast that I think are super important. And hold on, my phone is going nuts. I wonder... Oh, my goodness. I've got to take this, guys. I'll be right back. You won't even notice I'm gone. Oh, okay, I'm back. You got to take your kids' doctors' phone calls when they come in. That's like a rule, and I follow it. So, oh my goodness, leadership and ethics and how important these things are, and how there seems to be very little of it left in the United States government, especially on the right. I had to listen to. There's a senator from Louisiana named Kennedy. No relation to the New England Kennedys. I believe his name's Bill Kennedy. Hey, be careful. Dog's in here with me. In regards to the Trump policies being hurtful, including, he was specifically referring to the Department of Education being disbanded, which is not legal. You have to pass a law repealing the law that created the Department of Education. See, you can't unilaterally do whatever the fuck you want, and that's what I'm getting at here. Bill Kennedy, I think is his name. He comes across as a Southern lawyer that blah, 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 when in reality, he's a smart dude. He feigns ignorance. He says completely ignorant bullshit all the fucking time. He said, and I quote, cry over it or something. You know what? I shouldn't quote. I don't have the quote in front of me. Basically, he said they'll get over it. You'll have to get over it, to people who disagree with this. Now, that's not leadership. It's not leadership. People are upset with a lot of the decisions that this administration is making. They are punishing some of the most vulnerable people in our country for being vulnerable. Many of these policies are blatantly racist, blatantly misogynist, blatantly bigoted, and they don't care. The cruelty is the point. Hold on, let me yell at my dog real quick. Leia, please stop that. Stop that. Yes, you don't need to eat that. That's not food. It's a piece of furniture. I don't know what she's doing. People are upset that these policies are being enacted. Policies that will allow the government and its contractors to discriminate against people. This war against wokeness and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I've talked about this at length. If you're against diversity, if you're against equality, equity, if you're against the inclusion of people, shows who you really are. You're not a good person. If you talk about, DEI being a bad thing, you're just saying, I'm a racist, I'm a misogynist, I'm a bigot, I'm a terrible person who thinks that other people are less than me. You're saying that those people can't have qualifications required for certain jobs, which is fucking ridiculous. I've said that in no uncertain terms on this very podcast just a couple weeks ago. Failure to stand up to racists and misogynists and bigots, failure to stand up to people who are cruel for the sake of being cruel, is gross negligence, dereliction of leadership. You'll get over it. Tell that to disabled children who will no longer be able to go to school, especially in states like Louisiana, states that require massive federal assistance just to give a baseline of opportunity to their most disadvantaged populations. the thing that's happened is we've instilled the joke is they're calling it the broligarchy, which is the tech bros are really kind of taking over, and their face is Elon Musk, who I fucking hate. I don't, he's not a good person, and he shouldn't be in charge of anything. He can own whatever businesses he wants, but he has no place in the United States government. He is incapable of empathy, even for his own children, and that in and of itself means he is unfit for service to our nation. I said that. I stand by that. You need empathy to serve. You need empathy to serve anyone. Public service is, it's truly a beautiful thing. If you've got it within yourself to give up for others, you're a good person. You're doing a good thing. If you do it for the right reasons, if you do it ethically, if you do it to enrich yourself, you're not serving them. You're serving yourself. And that's where, Donald Trump and the broligarchy comes down. There are 14 billionaires in this cabinet, or will be, once they're all approved by the rubber stamp Senate, whose job it is to advise and consent, basically to say to the president who's appointing people, this person is unqualified, this person is incapable of doing the job. Well, they're not going to do that this time around. They're just going to give him whoever he wants, regardless of how unqualified or poor they are at the job, how much baggage they carry with them. See Pete Hegseth, see Robert Kennedy Jr., see Tulsi Gabbard, see Kash Patel, who has literally said what he would do if he were given this office, and now has been given this office, and he's saying, I'm not going to do any of that. So you were either lying then or you're lying now. Either way, he shouldn't be confirmed, because he has proven to be not a servant to the rule of law or to the country that he's supposedly protecting, but rather a full-blown sycophant at the boots of Donald Trump. Leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is standing up when you know something's wrong. The Democrats need to get their shit together, get their poop in a group, and start fighting back in whatever ways they can, because right now it's not particularly inspiring. And at this rate, what the Trump administration is doing is called smash and grab. Basically, they're grabbing as much power as they can before anyone stands up to stop them. Locking people out of government buildings that are owned by the people of this nation. Services like USAID, which they've shuttered the department and folded it into the state. That's not legal. That the United States Assistance Aid for International Development, Agency for International Development. I always get that wrong. United States Agency for International Development is fighting things like disease in Africa. It's building schools. It's helping to nourish the hungry, to feed the hungry in places like Sudan and Rwanda. Our presence in these places is important, not just because it's one of the good things our nation, which is prosperous, can do for the rest of the world, but also because the people that we help become leaders in these places and remember how important the United States was to helping them in their times of greatest need. And we become allies that way for generations. And that's what USAID is supposed to be doing, and that's what they do every day. Is there some waste in this department? Probably. There's going to be waste in every department. You want to talk about waste? The Department of Defense wastes more money in a single year than USAID is going to waste in 100 years. way more, probably 200-300 years. But we're not going after the Department of Defense right away. No. We're probably not going to attack any part of the Department of Defense spending, even though it is wildly inefficient compared to things like USAID, which represents 0.7% of the federal budget. USAID, 0.7%. Rounding error for the Department of Defense. Soft power, diplomatic power is worth far more than military might when you're not in a war. See what I'm saying? If you create allies, you don't have to worry about your defending yourself from them. You can work in cooperation. You get further with cooperation. What's the old saying? You get better, you get further, you attract more flies with honey than vinegar, more bees, more fly. I don't know. I don't know why you would want to attract flies, but basically the saying is when you're nice and sweet, you'll attract more friends than if you're full of piss and vinegar. This administration is full of piss and vinegar. Full of it. Angry white men. Angry at how horribly the world treats us. It's a fucking joke, right? How horribly they've been disadvantaged by programs like DEI, by ideas such as wokeness. White men have been horribly disenfranchised by these unfair practices. Get the fuck out of here. White privilege is disgusting. And these guys are screaming about how unfair DEI is. It's racism. You're racist. Just admit it. At least we can respect the fact that you admit it. I mean, you're still a piece of shit for it, but, it is what it is. Oh my God, I'm negative as hell today, aren't I? I'm sorry. I'm hurt. Not because I didn't get the podcast microphone I wanted. Sad. Not because mass deportations are happening. They're really not. It's not mass deportations. They're not deporting anybody any faster than the Biden administration was. Biden and Obama deported more people than Trump did. Trump will probably pass him this term, but Obama jokingly was called the deporter in chief. Yet we're the ones that are soft on immigration. Yeah, all right. Immigration needs to be fixed, sure. But this isn't the way to do it. This isn't the way to do it. Leadership is listening to people. Leadership is digesting facts. Leadership is understanding the situation before you make decisions. Leadership is wisdom and intelligence. Great brain power. Great power of the brain. This guy can't even string together 3 sentences that make sense. Donald Trump's a moron. And he's probably starting to lose his mind. Yet, he was who the people of this nation chose to lead. A person devoid of leadership. A person devoid of leadership skills. People follow leaders not because they fear them, but because they are inspired by them. Inspired not by negativity, but by aspiration. Sure, Donald Trump has a loyal cult following that he inspires, but he inspires them to be vicious and angry and filled with rage at perceived slights, when in reality, he doesn't even help them. Things like freezing government aid, not government aid, but government payments to people across the country, hurt people in red states disproportionately to people in blue states. That's the thing. The most vulnerable among us are being hurt, and that's not leadership. A country should be judged on how it treats its most vulnerable. It's young, it's youth, it's elderly, and it's disabled. It's sick. That's the sign of a great civilization, the sign of a great country, the sign of a great government is that people are cared for and safe while still being free. And we are now failing to do that because leadership is needed in these times. Difficult times. There are difficult, pressing issues that our world and our country have to face. Climate change is a real existential threat to our species, and these people don't believe it exists. They refuse to believe science. Woof, that's tough. That's tough to overcome. There are legitimate extremist groups around the world plotting horrible things. And we are basically removing ourselves from cooperation with our allies who may warn us. They may get wind of extremist activities that threaten our country and our world. And do they share that information with us now? Because we've become a bad ally. We're threatening trade wars with our closest neighbors and started a trade war with the most powerful adversary we could, China. Over what? I don't know. That's the thing. We don't even know what this guy wants. He doesn't know what he wants. It's a lack of leadership. And now we have to rally behind a leader to oppose this, what's going on. We have to rally behind the leadership of someone or someone's. And the Democratic Party is the most obvious place for that. But who among them can inspire people? Who among them can rise the aspiration level? Raise the aspiration level. Speak like a human. Even I struggle with that. But use a curse word every once in a while. Drop a fucking F-bomb. These are the times for expletives. These are the times to say, this is fucked up, because it is. It's really hard to be positive and be upbeat in difficult times. It is. I'm struggling with it every day. Can I keep my head up and keep trudging forward and keep working toward a better tomorrow when it just feels like everything is going against us? A lack of empathy, a lack of ethics, a lack of understanding, a lack of the desire to even do any of those things. Get over it, like Senator Cassidy of Louisiana told us. It's heartbreaking, and to know that so much of this country is in information silos where they don't even hear the truth anymore, where all they're fed is propaganda over and over again. It's all very Orwellian. 1984 was supposed to be a cautionary tale. It was written in 1949. It was written about the rise of fascism and how dangerous fascism can be and how it just becomes accepted. And that's the real danger. That they change the way you speak. They change the words that you can use. Newspeak. Double plus ungood. And for everyone who's read 1984, and I last read this book when I was in high school. I was 18 years old the last time I read this book. 32 years later, it still rings in my ears, and I remember it so vividly. Also, pretty good movie, starring John Hurt, if you ever want to catch the film version. Fascism is scary, and the things that they're doing right now should terrify the hell out of all of us. And we've been warned all this was coming. And we were warned about the dangers of AI by science fiction and art. Art is an important indicator. It's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to make you understand that there are dangers when you might otherwise just think, well, artificial intelligence is going to save us. It could also destroy us. One of the leading experts on artificial intelligence is a cat out of Britain, and he was talking about how when he first started talking about AI 20 years ago, he decided there was about a 10% chance that an artificial intelligence, full-fledged artificial intelligence, left to its own accord, would have like a 10% chance of destroying the human race. Recently, he came out and said and amended that, and he said maybe 20%. So a 1 in 5 chance that we're all going to be ended because we all like to make funny pictures or fake movie trailers using AI? Yup. There's no ethics behind it. There's no leadership behind it. You can't trust AI. It's supposed to be a tool. It's not supposed to be the worker. Stop eating that. My dog always eating something that she's not supposed to eat. For the record, bowl full of food in the corner. How do we find that leadership? I don't know. I don't know. I've always thought of myself as a leader amongst men, but I lead in small groups. I lead when I can see you. And this world is not designed for people who grew up in the old world. You know, when I was young, if you wanted to voice an unpopular opinion, you had to do it out loud in front of other people. And if you voiced your asshole opinion and other people disagreed with it, you ran the risk of being punched in the face. Thrown out of that joint. That was the downside to the freedom of speech. You had to actually, speak it and from your own mouth, from your own face, or you could pirate radio. See Pump Up the Volume, starring Christian Slater, Samantha Mathis, 1990, I think it was. Hubert H. Humphrey High. See Pump Up the Volume. It's a great movie. Great movie. Talk hard. This is my pump up the volume. That Trent Takes On is my pump up the volume. That's what it is. So you go back and you see that movie, you'll be like, okay, A, this is really old. And B, so is Trent. Yeah. So to all of you out there who are struggling to get through day-to-day stuff, I get you. I feel you. It's hard. Reach out for help. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Don't be afraid to ask a friend or a family member who you care and trust to share your feelings with them. And hopefully that together with help, you can feel better about it. It's not necessarily going to be easy. Maybe you need professional help. Go for it. Don't hesitate. Don't let festering feelings of grief and despair and depression get you down. Don't let it end you. You got to fight back against it. And the best way to fight back against it is with help. People are here to help you. People are here to help me. And I depend on them. And I feel terrible when I do. So I get it when you get hesitant about asking for help. I do the same thing. I don't want to put this heavy anxiety on like my wife or my friends. But then I do this podcast, so I guess I don't mind it that much, right? Oh, shit. I just realized how full of shit I can be. I don't want anybody to feel my anxiety the way I do. I want you to be upbeat and defiant and strong, because you can be whatever you want to be. You can have whatever ethics you want to have. You can be the kind of person that you want to be. And even if people tell you you're not allowed, you can still stick to your guns and do it. Don't let them tell you who to be. Don't let them tell you how to talk. That's how the fascists win. And pay attention. I'm sure that you will discover somewhere in your community or in your life there is a leader that you can get behind and help out and be a part of the resistance in some way. Get your red bucket. You know what I mean? I'm going to reference that red bucket forever, aren't I? Yeah, I got a red bucket right there in the corner, and I got my little grippy thingy, and I'm going to use it to clean up whenever I get down, whenever I feel like there's nothing I can do. I can always clean up a little bit somewhere. It's always a mess to clean up, right? I'm going to check out for the day. Hopefully next time you hear me, I'll be on a brand new microphone. Shiny and new. No offense to you, Mr. Blue Snowball, but you're 15 years old and we probably need to replace you. I'm going to replace you. It's going to happen. I'm sorry, buddy. You've been with me for a lot of shit. Hopefully next time you hear me, it'll be on a new microphone. Hopefully I won't have to do like an emergency crazy ass podcast, in 3 hours, but that could happen at any moment, right? Yep. These are uncertain times we're living in, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that is not going to pass anytime soon. So buy a helmet if you have to, make a friend if you can, and be good humans. This is the very least we can do for each other and for the future. I love you all. Please take care of yourselves. And if you need help, reach out for it. I'll talk to you soon.